Hi, I'm Austin's Animals, collecting all things furry, and today I'm totally phoning it in. I was gonna do some big grand opening where I was running out around the trees looking for Ewoks and wildlife on the planet Endor, and then it rained, and it rained, and it rained. And coming from the very dry, not rainy state of Southern California, I thought, well, the rain will clear up, and I've been sitting on this video for like 2 weeks now of just constant downpour, so I've decided I'm just gonna sit here in my pajamas and look my worst and talk about the cuddly teddy bears from Star Wars. Why not? The Ewoks cartoon was released in the late 1980s as a last-ditch effort to capitalize on the success of Star Wars and, oddly enough, ape on the success of Care Bears. It was animated by Nelvana, the same studio as the Care Bears cartoon, and was a big failure. It's largely forgotten today. The one memorable aspect of the show was the character of Princess Kneesaa. Because the show wanted to sell toys to both boys and girls, the show featured two protagonists: Wicket, the warrior Ewok from Return of the Jedi, and a new character known as Princess Kneesaa, Chief Chopper's daughter and the princess of the Ewok village. She's voiced by Cree Summer, an Animation legend, and she does a wonderful job. She's honestly way too good for the Ewok show, and is worth watching just for her performance alone. Now, Princess Kneesaa has had some plush in recent years, despite being a relatively obscure character, mostly from the Disney parks and of varying quality, but it's been a long time since a Kneesaa plush was available at mainstream retailers like Target and Walmart. The track record on Ewok plush lately has been pretty mixed. This one here I bought at, I think, a grocery store, oddly enough, and it might just be the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Now, like I said, they're hit and miss. This one here from Target last year is honestly pretty cute, and even sports Wicket in his green hood from the Ewoks cartoon. So Ewok plush have been based on the movies, the cartoon. This one here is from Star Tours at Disneyland, and was my original beloved Wicket plush I would sleep with every night when I was little. I love this little dude, and I love Ewoks. So even if the plush kinda suck, I still buy them. I can't help myself, I've got an army of Ewoks. Now, most recently, Mattel has been developing Star Wars plush, which is unusual in its own right, but they've been doing these stylized dolls that are kind of like Star Wars babies. At least, that's how they sell themselves. This one, for example, is supposed to be a baby Ewok, but it's not fooling me. It's clearly supposed to be Wicket from Return of the Jedi. Never mind the fact that in the Ewoks cartoon, it's established that Ewok babies don't wear hoods. Ewoks get their hoods during what's called a hooding ceremony.
This bond will grow as you now take your first steps toward a greater life with the tribe.
So when the first baby Ewok doll released, I figured, well, these people have probably never seen the Ewoks cartoon. I mean, who has and who remembers all that lore? But I was pleasantly surprised to see a new interpretation of Princess Kneesaa, the original Ewok princess. It's possible the people that developed this line had an affinity for the cartoon, or at least the original 1986 plush of Kneesaa that I have in my left paw right now. It was a pretty good plush, soft and cuddly, though restricted by some of the techniques of the time. For example, her face is so fluffy you can barely even see her eyes or mouth. They're there, trust me, there's just too much floof, you just can't see it. Now, both the 1985 plush, as well as the new one we're going to take a look at, are missing some details, such as the blue emerald she wears on her forehead, or the blue feathers that come down from her hood. But the hood detail on this plush is pretty nice. The new one doesn't have those details, but I still think it's a worthy follow-up to the original plush. The likeness is really spot on. For a plush that isn't even named Kneesaa, I'm surprised how much they got the original character down pat. Obviously, they knew what they were doing. They could have designed any generic female Ewok, but this one is clearly modeled after Kneesaa from the cartoon. The pink hood, the fur that's a mix between gray and white, and of course, her pouty lips. It's hysterical. I'll always have an affinity for the 1986 original. She's just so soft and cuddly, but I've wanted a modern update for some time now, and I'm really happy that someone at Mattel got this product released. Oh, and in case you didn't know, 2023 is actually the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, which means yes, it's the 40th anniversary of the Ewok characters being created. I really hope we see a lot of stuff related to the cartoons and the Ewoks. They've been under-merchandised for a long time, and getting a nice doll of Princess Kneesaa is a really great way to start the year. I already mentioned how the likeness looks like the cartoon, so instead I just want to talk about the nice detail this plush has. Even disconnected from the Ewoks canon, this is just a great toy from Mattel. The sculpting is beautiful on the face, as you will see, as is the cloth hood that adorns her. The doll comes in plastic-free packaging. That's fine, it doesn't really need to be on a blister card or a box. Heck, this thing probably could have just been displayed with a hang tag, but I'll take this nice box. It gives a little bit of world building and tries to tell us that we're the intergalactic caretaker of this alien animal. Okay, that's a fun play pattern, I'll admit it. I can't imagine I'll ever do that, and we'll just display these as stylized dolls. Again, they don't even really look like babies. They look like Funko Pops or vinyl dolls of Star Wars characters. But they're cool, so I can't complain. Okay, for plastic-free packaging, this thing was a pain in the butt to open. I thought packaging was supposed to be getting less and easier. Oh well. And here she is out of the box. First impressions is that she's really top-heavy. Her head is massive and huge, even bigger than the Wicket one I've had before. I think it may be the glass eyes, but she's just really heavy, and she doesn't stand up. I had to lean her up against the wall for any shots in this video. But man, that head sculpt's adorable. Just look at it. How could you ever say no to a face like that? That's like the Puss in Boots adorable face times a million. She just looks so cute. I said there's been other merchandise of Nessa before, and one thing I wanted to compare her with was the action figure that came out about 10 years ago. Yes, this was an actual figure by Hasbro of Nessa, done in a more realistic style separate from the cartoon. Now, the face sculpt on this one I thought was the most adorable Star Wars figure ever, but maybe trumped by the new one. One thing both did get right was those big pouty lips, and her fur color being a sort of off-white gray. I think the action figure definitely goes hard for cartoon accuracy, complete with the blue feather, but this new doll still does a decent job, especially given it's technically not even supposed to be Nessa. Now Nessa, or Nisa, or however you say her name, has these cool eyes that are inset and follow you around. You can move the doll in any direction and the eyes look like they're looking at you. I've actually seen this technique applied to fursuit heads before and it's awesome. Really cool. While the head is top-notch, the body is where things begin to stumble a bit. For one, the fur color just seems odd. The stark white with brown is not as subtle as the transition that's on the head. The colors are just much more stark. Also, that head is so big that it makes the doll top-heavy, and with her limpy little body, she just doesn't stand up. I would have much preferred an armature in the body to strike poses, but I get that would have made the doll much more expensive. Now, also included for good measure is this carrying pouch, which again solves a lot of the problems with the body, since it covers the whole thing, and the play pattern of this toy is to carry it around in the pouch, implying that whoever buys this toy is not going to have it outside the bag much. I understand this is a pure kid's toy and not a collector's piece, so I'm willing to forgive all of these quibbles and missteps. It's not supposed to be a high-end collector doll of the Ewoks cartoon, or really anything that's meant for collections and displays. This is just a kid's doll that happens to pay homage to the Ewoks cartoon. As a pure kid's toy, this thing passes the test in my book. I would give this to a kid. It's playable, it's durable, and it's fun, and for collectors like us, it's a fun piece because it pays tribute to a classic and somewhat obscure cartoon. Now, the material here is pretty decent. I didn't highlight the hood enough. It's really nice. Sure, it doesn't have the stitching or detail of the 1986 doll, but it's just made so nice and has such a thickness to it that you don't see in a lot of other toys. Mattel themselves, heck, Barbie clothes are not this nice. It's a great hood. Now, you can remove the hood, and you actually get an Ewok doll that is much closer to the baby Ewoks seen in Return of the Jedi, you know, when they don't have their hoods yet. This is a fun prop on its own, and if you were cosplaying as a Return of the Jedi character, or just wanted to dress up as a Mother Ewok, this would be a fun doll to carry around a convention. There's one last play feature to the toy, and that involves the whole nurturing, taking care of a galactic baby segment. Yeah, they actually included a birth certificate, like a 1980s Cabbage Patch doll. We get to name our Ewok and decide her personality. Oh boy. Well, Nessa or Nisa, that's a confusing name and I don't even know how you say it. I think it's actually Nisa and I've been saying it wrong, so screw it, we're just gonna rename the Ewok to the only name I could think of appropriate for such a galactic creature, Baba Booey. Now I just don't want Baba Booey to be any lovable classic teddy bear. She's gonna be pretty shy and crabby. Yeah, she doesn't get enough sleep and she's mad at the world. And with crabbiness comes, let's give her like a French thing. We'll make stubborn in French one of her things. Was it silly? I don't know. Anyways, she's smart, she doesn't like people, she's crabby, she's mean, and she's strong. She's Baba Booey, the leader of the Ewok Amazonians. Don't screw with her! 3 days later. I decided to give the play pattern a shot, and I'm proud to announce that I am a hard-working single father raising 2 baby Ewok cubs. Now, who wants to get Baskin Robbins? Who wants Baskin Robbins? You behave so good. Come on, let's go. Let's go get some Baskin Robbins, my babies.
Earl McGraw and Baba Booey. I'm thinking about that.
Good.